Parshas Yisro, Perek Chaf Pasuk Yudalid. The Torah says that at Har Sinai, when the Torah was given, Bnei Yisrael saw, the lashon of the pasuk is Ro'im es hakolos. They saw the sounds. Rashi explains that things that normally you only could hear, words, right? You hear what I'm saying. Bnei Yisrael were able to see the words of the Torah, see them in the air. Okay, there's an interesting book I have at home. I should have brought it in for show and tell, but I highly recommend looking at this, so it bugged me to bring it in. There's a book that actually shows an experiment that was done with Lashon HaKodesh, with saying the Aleph Beis, with saying words, into an ice, can't explain what it is, but like an ice machine, and you literally could see in the ice the letters of the Aleph Beis. As the letters are being said, you see the formation of the letters in the ice. With other languages it doesn't work, only for Lashon HaKodesh, a very special magical element of the Holy Hebrew language. Anyway, Bnei Yisrael were able to see the words of the Torah coming out of Hashem into the world. They're able to see it that way. Why did Bnei Yisrael have to see it that way? Why did it have to be that way? Because at Matan Torah, the Torah had to be so clear that it wasn't up for our interpretation or our imagination of what it is. They had to be able to see it in the way that it's supposed to be. Our goal in our learning is always to try to get clarity in learning, right? To understand it in the deepest way, to understand the layers of the amazing Torah that's there. But we're always trying to get clarity. So there's a story about Rav Chaim of Volozhin. Rav Chaim of Volozhin wrote the Sefer Nefesh HaChaim, one of the greatest students of the Vilna Gaon. And one time he was with his brother, Rav Zalman. And Rav Zalman started dozing off, and he fell asleep in the hands of Rav Chaim of Volozhin. And Rav Chaim of Volozhin said, I'm holding Kol Torah Kula in my hands. He's holding his head. The whole Torah is in my hands, because it's in his head, my brother's head, and I'm holding it. So one of his students asked him, he said, I don't get it. If your brother knows the entire Torah, and your Rebbe, the Vilna Gaon, he knows the entire Torah, so what's the difference between your Rebbe and your brother? Now the Vilna Gaon was considered like the greatest of the great, but if his brother knows the whole Torah, so he's no less great than the Vilna Gaon, right? So what's the difference between the two? So Rav Chaim of Volozhin answered, he said, no, you don't understand. My brother, he knows the entire thing. You give him a test, he'll be able to answer every question. He knows the whole thing. But my Rebbe knows the whole thing backwards. So he said to him, okay, why is that a level to know it backwards? I mean, if you know the whole thing, right, can you imagine, you can answer the entire test, you know all the information, the whole thing's clear, right? Who cares if you know backwards or forwards? You know the whole thing. So he said as follows, he said, do you say Ashrei every day? He said, yeah. So how many times do you say Ashrei? 3 times a day, twice in Shachas, once at Mincha. I say Ashrei 3 times a day. If I would ask you to say Ashrei backwards, would you be able to say Ashrei backwards? No. I mean, if you gave me a sitter, I'd be able to read it backwards, but otherwise I can't say it backwards. He said, that's the difference between my brother and the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon, when he learned Torah, it was as if he was reading a book. Even the parts that he was saying by heart, it was as if there was a book in front of him so he could read it backwards and forwards. The clarity that he had of the Torah was so high that it was as if he saw the words right in front of him. And that is a level that, yes, I'm sure if we would have asked everyone in this room, what is your goals in learning Torah? I bet no one would have said, my goal is to be able to say it backwards. But the goal isn't backwards per se. The goal is to have a clarity as if it's literally right in front of you that you could be able to say it backwards. But what did Bnei Yisrael do to be able to be zocha to such a clarity? Now listen to this, now I'll get a little practical. Bnei Yisrael at Har Sinai, what did they say to Hashem? Well, the 2 magic words? Na'aseh v'nishma. We're going to do it, and then we'll hear about it afterwards. We're ready to do it. Believe it or not, the Gemara says in masechtos Shabbos and Daf Peiches, they were awarded for that. They got crowns. Malachim came down and gave everyone crowns, 1 crown for Na'aseh, 1 crown for Nishma. It was an amazing thing that they were willing to buy in. They didn't even know yet fully what the Torah was, but we're in. We're locked in, as you would say, okay? That's the words that they use. Okay, we're in, Na'aseh, we're ready to go. Okay, so they got awarded for that. But the Yalkut Shimoni in Tehillim, Ayin Ches, and the Tosefta in Baba Kama, they both say that on some level Bnei Yisrael should have gotten punished for that. It was inappropriate for them to say Na'aseh v'nishma. Why? They were gonev et hamakom. They misled, they stole Hashem. They misled him. Why? Because literally, 5 seconds later, Bnei Yisrael sinned. The golden calf, Cheder Egel, later on in the midbar, they kept on messing up and messing up and messing up. Really, you're in? You're ready? Nasav, we're ready, we're going to do the whole thing. We're ready to go. They weren't really holding there. So they said, we're in, we want this, but they weren't holding there, so on some level, they deserve to be punished because they weren't fully in. So I don't get it. 1 second. Were they rewarded because they did something good? Or should they have been punished because they agreed to something that they couldn't handle and they couldn't keep up? So answers the Chidushei Harim with the following idea. And this is extremely applicable to our lives. He said, the reason Bnei Yisrael were rewarded for saying Nasa v'nishma, even though they weren't yet on that level to be able to keep the entire thing, was because they wanted it. By going ahead and saying, we're ready, we're in, Nasa, we're going to do it, that showed that there was a deep Ratzon. They really, really wanted it. And because they really, really wanted it, Hashem went ahead and gave it to them. The mashal that people give, I'm sure many people in this room can relate to this, even the parents in this room. A child comes to their parent and say, I want to borrow the car. I want the car tonight. Say, look, you have a test coming up. You got to get some good night's sleep. You have a full week of school ahead of you. I can't, not tonight. No, I need the car tonight. Tonight is the night, so important. If out of all nights, this is the night I need the car. But what's going to be with your test? I'm going to get 100 on the test. I am going to get 100 on every test this year if you give me the car just tonight. And I'll never ask you for the car ever again. Just tonight, I just want it tonight. I'm going to go sleep early every night. Just tonight, this is what I want. And the parent is like listening to this, and he's here. The kid wants it so badly, and he's making all these promises. The parent knows he hasn't gone over 50 on the test once this year. He's not getting 100 on every single subsequent tests, right? He is not going to sleep every night. The kid can never go to sleep. But he wants it so bad that he's making all these promises. He's not holding there, but it shows how badly he wants it. And the father goes ahead and says, here, you can have the car. Hashem saw Bnei Yisrael wanted this so bad. The other nations were offered the Torah as well. And they said, we don't want this thing. Too complicated. But Bnei Yisrael said, we want it. And because they wanted it, they were zocha to be able to go ahead and get it. The power of wanting something allows us to go way beyond anything we ever thought we could have accomplished. When a person says, I want to memorize a Mishnah. I don't know here how many people know Mishnah by heart. But if you want it, you'll be able to know Mishnah by heart. Can you imagine for the rest of your life you'll know Mishnah by heart? A person says, I want to finish the 7th parak of Brachos Shakla V'Tarya. If you don't want it, you're not going to get it. But if you want it, you can do it. If you want to get up early in the morning, I'm not holding there, Rabbi. I'm not there yet. True. But if you want it, you'll get there, and you'll do it a couple times, and then you won't, and then you'll get it a couple more times, and then you won't, but you'll get there. It starts with the Ratzon. A person needs that want, that desire to go ahead and not to inhibit that desire by always saying, I'm not holding there yet, I'm not holding there yet. Remind yourself that I want this. If you want things, you'll be able to push yourself to whole new levels. And I'll share with you a story which had a big impact on my life, I have to tell you the truth. But I'm a little skeptical sometimes when I hear these stories. So I wouldn't have said it over unless I actually looked at it, into it, and saw in my own eyes that it's true. So I heard this story about this great person who passed away in the year 1954. And again, I didn't believe it, but I heard about it. So I went to the cemetery to visit his grave. To check it out. Okay, here's the story. There was a man, his name was Rabbi Eliezer Yosef Letterberg. He actually lived right out of the old city in a place called Bate Varsha. He was a storekeeper. He owned a store, a regular guy. And he was having problems with his eyes. He went to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor said that he has to do a surgery in order to help him. And there's a very good chance, actually high probability, that after the surgery he's not going to be able to see anymore. Now this man, the storekeeper, he liked learning. He would learn every day. Wasn't a big learner. He wasn't spending most of his day learning. He owned a store. But he liked learning very much, and he wanted that to be part of his life. And he was beside himself that now he's going to lose his eyesight. He's not going to be able to learn anymore. He can't see anything. Right? They didn't have the recordings like we have nowadays. Right? So what's he going to do? So he asked the doctor, he said, what's the maximum amount of time that I could push off till I have to have this surgery? So he said 6 months. I said, okay, so I have 6 months now to figure out how for the rest of my life I am going to be able to continue learning even though I'm not going to be able to see. So he decided he's going to try to memorize a masechta. So he's going to take a small masechta. Again, he wasn't a massive learner. Start with a small masechta, Maseches Rosh Hashanah. Okay, it's only 30 pages. We're going to start with Maseches Rosh Hashanah, and he learned it again and again and again with the intention he's going to memorize it. So after he goes blind, he can continue learning it by heart. So he did it. Again, it had a real Ratzon. His desire was very, very, very strong. So he kept on going and going and going. And after a short amount of time, he actually knew it by heart. He spent all day and all night. He closed his store. He's told his wife, and please, everyone leave me alone for 6 months. I just need to spend time doing this. After a short period of time, he memorized it. So he said, okay, let me do another one. So it's another short Masechta, Maseches Beitza. So he went ahead, he started with Maseches Beitza. He said, look, I'll see if you get it. By the end of the 6-month mark, he was able to memorize Maseches Rosh Hashanah and Maseches Beitza. Wow, okay, pretty good. Again, all day and all night, that's all he did. He had the surgery. After the surgery was over, he had bandages all over his eyes. And after a certain amount of time, he was able to take it off, and he took it off, and he was actually able to see. It didn't ruin his vision. It was an unbelievable thing. It was, again, no one believed that could happen. The doctors didn't believe it. He didn't believe it. And now he said to himself, he said, wait a minute. My plan was when I was about to go blind that I wouldn't be able to learn anymore. So Rosh Hashanah and also Beitza would now be my masechtas. And I'll continue to review it because that's my thing. He said, I'm going to continue doing that even though now I could see and I could see other masechtas. So he continued reviewing it for the rest of his life. He actually ended up writing a sefer. It's called the Sefer Avas Hashem. It has a haskama in the beginning from Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld and from Rav Kook. They were the two people who gave a haskama to his sefer. Okay, but he continued to review Maseches Rosh Hashanah and Maseches Beitza. Again, he was a regular person. He was a businessman, and he finished Rosh Hashanah and Beitza over 4,000 times because he had the clarity. He was able to see it so easily that he just reviewed it and reviewed it and reviewed it. And when he died, he passed away, he put in his will that they should write on his matzeva, on the tombstone, that here's the person that's buried that reviewed these Gemaras over 4,000 times. Not to show off, there's no point of showing off once you're not alive. But he thought that if people would see this, it could inspire them to do crazy things like that if you just have the Ratzon to do it. And I didn't believe the story. So I went, I took a picture of his tombstone. So here it is, okay? And it says, Po Nikbar HaChasid Rabbi Eliezer Yosef Letterberg, that's his name. Lamad V'haya Bal Peh Yoter Me'arbat Alafim Pam Masechtos Beitza V'Rosh Hashanah. That's what he wrote on the thing. An amazing thing, 4,000 times. Because he had a Ratzon. Now, true, his Ratzon came from an unfortunate situation that he thought he was going to go blind. So we don't need that, Baruch Hashem. And we shouldn't need it. But we, now we're in the post-Polensman, as they call it. Okay, we're at the home stretch towards Pesach. And we have the opportunity, the ability to go ahead and do big things. Big things. Maybe you want to finish Maseches Megillah before Rosh Hashanah, or even get started on it. You want to push away your chazaras of Maseches Brachos. You want to go ahead and learn more Iyun. You want to start learning Mishnayos, memorizing Shnai Mikra Targum Challenge to get the Rashi set. There's so many things that we could do, and we just have to have the Ratzon. We have the opportunity to do amazing things. We have to have the will, and if we have that and we put it into practice, speak to the Rebbeim, what are the ways to do? Don't say I'm not holding there. Yes, you're not holding there. I'm also not holding there. That's the name of the game. We should always be pushing ourselves to places where we're not holding. To stay comfortable and just, that's blah. Hashem doesn't want that from us, and we don't want that from ourselves. We want to be bigger than ourselves. So we just have to have that Ratzon, pick something that we're going to do that's beyond what we're capable of doing. and then let's shoot for that. And then we have the Ratzon. We quote from the Sfas Emes, I have not seen it inside, but the letters for Ratzon is the same as letters as a tzinor, a pipeline. When a person has that Ratzon, Hashem creates the pipeline for all of that bracha to come in, and you're able to accomplish things you never ever dreamt of that you could do. So a bracha to all of us is we're able to have the Ratzon, activate the Ratzon, and then be zocheh to the shefa from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to help us to all fulfill our incredible desires and wills and become the greatest people that we could become.